Well, major U.S. companies like Costco, FedEx, and Revlon have filed a lawsuit against the U.S. government, seeking full refunds for tariffs. Now that the U.S. Supreme Court has made its decision, we are discussing the legal parameters of the case with Lawrence Herman, former Canadian diplomat and international trade lawyer at Herman and Associates. Lawrence, thanks very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
So the tariffs briefly ended. Now they're in a different form. Where does this leave all the tariffs that were collected up until the Supreme Court ruled?
Well, that's a good question. The tariffs have been collected illegally. The Supreme Court said that those EPA tariffs, if I could call them that, were contrary to law. So there's a refund that is owed to the companies that have paid those tariffs. But getting that refund is complex and time-consuming because you have to go through a particular process, a complicated process. You have to, the companies that want to get the refunds have to be very precise in terms of how they identify the amount paid and on what products they were paid. It is a mess. And frankly, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of litigation going through the courts before this is resolved. A lot of the U.S. trade lawyers that I deal with say it's going to take a long time before those companies that have paid these tariffs are fully refunded. So what we've got, if I could speak generally, is not just chaos internationally with the striking down of the tariffs by the U.S. Supreme Court, but internally, domestically in the United States, it is very complex, very unstable, very uncertain. It's chaotic, and it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money for companies to get those refunds. It's not just a matter of filing an application and saying, hey, pay me the money back. It's much more complex and technically detailed. So that's where we are.
What is involved in it? I mean, is Trump going to appeal this, or are they going to appeal that, or is it just they're going to challenge every step of the way?
No, the government, the U.S. executive, has said they will not contest refunds. The question is whether all of the complications and technical requirements for getting those refunds have been followed. I mean, the monies were collected by the Customs and Border Protection, and some of those monies were held pending a certain time period, allowing parties to file complaints or requests for adjustments. But where those funds have actually been, as they call it, liquidated, you have to go through a much more complicated process. And it's not just the customs people, Customs and Border Protection, that collects the money where companies have to go. In some cases, and this is started by many of the larger companies, you go to the courts, the Court of International Trade. And so there's, in a way, a parallel process, seeking refunds through Customs and Border Protection, but where the money has already been liquidated, as they call it, or collected and finalized, you have to go to the Court of International Trade. So it's a complicated process. When lawyers get involved, there's always a lot of money that it costs for parties. And that's going to continue. I think some of my colleagues in the United States say it could take years before all the refunds are obtained by companies. Now, so that's what's happening internally. As I said, has also caused huge amounts of problems internationally for all of those U.S. trading partners that have concluded deals with the United States on the basis of some kind of tariff solution. Now the tariffs have been declared illegal.
Now, I imagine a lot of the large companies have probably kept track of all this, and for them, it's worth it. Do we know a percentage of this money went to, say, small companies with minor amounts, and they made us look and go, we're not even going to try and get the money. We're not even going to try this?
Well, I don't know what the breakdown is. The larger companies, of course, you mentioned in your introduction, I think, a number of these companies, they have the resources that they can withstand all of the costs and underwrite all the costs, and et cetera. The smaller importers who pay the duties, may not have those resources, but I don't think many of them are just going to shrug their shoulders and say, oh, well, let it go. I think they're going to want to get their money back. It's going to cost them some legal fees. It's going to take a lot of time, but that's the result of the illegal use by Mr. Trump of his assumed authority under the International Economic Emergency Powers Act.
Now going forward with Section 122, can there be any court challenges to that, or is this one looked at as being done legally?
Oh, well, that's a very good question. There are many who say that the Section 122 tariffs, which are to deal with immediate balance of payments problems, can be litigated, and so there's uncertainty that those new tariffs will withstand court challenge. So even Section 122 is going to be under assault, and who knows where that is going to lead us. The point is that while Mr. Trump has said he's a tariff man and he loves tariffs, and tariffs are the basis of his trade policy, the right of the executive to apply those tariffs almost on a whim in an undisciplined manner is questionable. Okay. So we could see challenges. In fact, there are going to be challenges under the new Section 122 tariffs. All so right. We're facing uncertainty in a major way, and nothing is clear as a result of Mr. Trump's tariff wars.
Okay, so the lawyers are going to be busy. You'll be busy. Lawrence, thank you very much for joining us. We'll let you get back to work.
My pleasure.
Lawrence Herman is a former Canadian diplomat and international trade lawyer at Herman and Associates.